Do you know the first person to light a candle? If you were asked this question, few people would probably be able to answer. Everyone knows that the candlelight movement started, but no one knows who first proposed it. The movie Comment Corp starts with a slightly provocative question. The clinical staff reporter, played by Sun Soo-kyu, asks the question as if he were asking the audience. Before the candlelight movement, we used to protest more radically with Molotov cocktails. But since the candlelight movement, it's been more peaceful. You don't see Molotov cocktails now. Subtitles appear before the movie starts. Subtitles have been popping up a lot lately before a movie or drama starts. It's especially common in Korean movies. It's a notice that the content of the movie has nothing to do with a specific person or event. It's a device to avoid being sued for something. When I watch American Hollywood movies, it rarely comes out. Rather, it's clear that this movie is based on a specific person or event. Even though I can see that it's based on a specific person or event. In the commentary, it's the opposite. At first, I thought it was strange when I saw the subtitles, because it was completely different from the normal work. So I believed that everything in the movie was true, even if some people or events were changed. The introduction about the first person who started the candle movement. It was said that it started with P communication. It was free, but when a big company came along and made it paid, there were students who objected. That student was the first person to propose the candlelight movement. At that time, there was no high-speed internet like now, so the spread was small. But the recent candlelight movement is different in that it spread in a matter of hours. I saw it as true because the individual was introduced and the organization was explained. After watching the movie, I thought about it again and realized that it could be a lie. It's said that people are more likely to believe something if it's a little bit false than if it's 100% true. And that's what the movie was about, so I wondered if they used that device on purpose. Nowadays, it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between real and fake. With the recent advancement of AI, even real people are becoming harder to recognize. There are many cases where we think something is fake, but it is real. There are many cases where you think something is real, but it's not. There are cases where people lie and later apologize when the truth comes out. It's more exciting when you have a tablespoon of truth and half a tablespoon of lies. It's so interesting because it happens so often that I'm not sure what's true anymore. Early on, there's the impeachment of the president and a big company apologizing for it. And the names of the big companies are all over the place. I couldn't help but think of Samsung Electronics, and I wondered if it was a real company executive. Because I didn't see any of the people apologizing in the movie. The conspiracy theories are getting more and more active. And inevitably, there are people who are caught doing such manipulations. Even institutions and governments have been caught doing it, and people still don't believe in voting. A clinical reporter happens to be interviewing the president of the company that built the highway toll machine. He says his machine was unique at the time, and he was the only one to bid on it. Somehow, during testing, the machine malfunctioned, and some strange people on the site jammed the radio waves. Then, 6 months later, another company bid on it and got it, and it was a wholly owned subsidiary. The clinical reporter is skeptical at first, but when he finds out, he starts to investigate. The desk tells them not to do it. But they do, and they go public. And the next thing you know, the president commits suicide. The people who were jamming the airwaves were actually there to take publicity photos. This leads to the clinical reporter being told to take a leave of absence from the newspaper. After a while, he tries to get his job back, but he can't. Then he's approached by someone. They say that everything you did was correct. They say it was all fabricated. They tell you that there's an organization inside Manjun that you don't know about. At first, we're skeptical, but there's something mysterious about what he says. From here, he explains what he's been up to, and it's a very long explanation. As I was watching, I even wondered if Sun Soo-kyu was a supporting character instead of the lead. It explains how he manipulated public opinion until the middle of the movie. Sansuku is barely in the movie, and it shows what the team did, including Chatat Cat. The marketing in the movie was really mind-blowing, especially because it shows how noise marketing and shaping public opinion works. Two completely unconnected events lead to the internet activity that these teams did. The main way they do this is through communities, which are places on the internet, where people post articles and photos about different stories, usually in the male or female communities. There are also a lot of places called dits. If you post something on these places, the ripple effect is huge. They'll take a picture of a woman who's a little bit pretentious, but she's got a great body, and she's in a hotel pool, and she's got a cigarette at the end of the picture. And they'll post it on a bunch of different communities, and somebody notices the cigarette. And that's when the sales of that cigarette go through the roof. These are the kinds of manipulations that lead to a whole series of unrelated things. And then the clinical journalist gets interested and digs deeper. 2/3 of the way through the movie, you're really engaged. It makes you think that this is real, because if you say that some big company has a secret team like that, most people will believe it, and then at the end it's like, what the heck? So I guess it's a bit of a love-hate thing. It ends with an open ending rather than a clear-cut punishment. The movie is based on the novel Comment Unit by Jang Kang-myung. I thought it would be a light movie, but I found it quite entertaining, and the acting was good.